Good evening. Hope everyone's doing okay. I Rogered that, Leo. Got my coffee handy. Gotta have that. And nicotine, absolutely. And not only did I mow my grass today, but I've mowed my grass every day for the last 4 days. Fun times. Because, some people are just OCD and mow their grass every day. But anyway, no, I'm not OCD for those that haven't been around, but more excitement about that will come in the future. But yeah, spent a fair amount of time outside today doing more testing, and kept a toe, if you will, in the news where I could. And I really didn't see a whole lot today. In fact, going to be a pretty easy night. I'll take it, because it's been pretty crazy. For about a couple of weeks, I guess. Really, there's been quite a bit of stuff going on. Still stuff going on. It's just as far as anything really noteworthy, or I should say different, not a whole lot. Pretty mild day, really, from what I could see. Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything that stood out today. Nothing's tapping on me. I never did look again into the shooter from Louisville. I haven't looked back at that to see if any more information has come out with that. I'm sure it has. I'm sure they probably at least, I don't know, maybe even said whether he was a current employee or not. I know that the last I looked, they weren't saying one way or another yet. So, I don't know. Just craziness. And the answer still stays the same for every single one of us. Just keep getting ready. I don't think that this stuff's going to get any better. This stuff with the Pentagon leaks, man, there's some pretty crazy stuff that involves. It could very possibly lead to some countries even turning tail when it comes to the United States. Hey, we're getting ready to kick off, I believe, the largest ever military exercise with South Korea. And they're one of the countries that there were issues with when it comes to those leaks. So, now I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to turn like South Korea, that they would turn tail. I don't know that they would. Honestly, I think the Philippines would before South Korea would. I don't see Japan turning tail on the United States, even though I think there was some stuff involving them with the Pentagon leak. It's just, I don't think we can rely on France for very obvious reasons, and I'm not so sure about being able to rely on Germany for multiple reasons. They're not all necessarily on board with the U.S. for one, and for two, they gotta have energy, yo, and yeah, the United States could provide it at a cost, but that's going to cost everybody, including us. So I don't know what route Germany's going to take. I think that for some nations, Germany included, I think it's still up in the air a little bit I think they're kind of trying to see how things work. Obviously, there are other nations that are clearly starting to kind of turn tail a little bit, like India, Saudi Arabia, the BAE. I don't know. It's not good. I would keep a close eye on all this stuff as it unfolds. I know that there's a lot of talk about this major, offensive. Oh yeah, I did see that. They released a body cam video from the Louisville, Kentucky incident. Yes, I saw that. From the steps where, yeah, I saw that. Pretty crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't look into it any further to see if they've talked anymore on his reasoning, his motive, and all that. But yeah, crazy. I have a feeling that before too awful much longer, we're going to see some type of offensive. But I don't think it's going to yield much for them. And I'm talking about Ukraine. It's not going well for them over there. And I know that some of the U.S. media outlets had tried to kind of paint a picture on it like that Ukraine was kicking Russia's ass. And I'd been saying the entire time that's just not the case. There are a couple of times that Ukraine got a couple of good shots in, so to speak. But for the most part, Russia has just dominated that battlefield. How do I know? How do I know? Because it's freaking obvious. Putin's intent is not to take over all of Ukraine. That's not that wasn't his intent. It might be at this point, but that wasn't his initial intent. In fact, I think he would have probably been good if they would have sat down at the table and talked about the Donetsk and Lugansk regions and, allowing them to be a part of Russia. I don't know that there would have ever had to have been a shot fired. But here we are. And Ukraine really has not made many advancements to note. In fact, they are still, slowly but surely, getting pushed back. Do I think it's slowly but surely because limitations on Russia? No, not even close. I think it's slowly but surely because that's not Putin's intent to take all of Ukraine, and that he's just wanting to sit down at the negotiating table. I really think that that's where his position is. I think there'll be an offensive, but I don't think it will be anything that's going to garner much for them. And I believe one of two things will happen at that point. I think either this situation, as well as Ukraine for the most part, will be snuffed out. Putin will just deal with it. And I'm not saying he'll just nuke the place or anything like that. If anybody thinks that Putin has got any level of, of his national forces involved in this, they're silly. I'm failing to understand where people think Ukraine comes up with all these military in comparison to Russia. It's like, okay, man. Anyway, I've got 4 tabs open. First one, directly related to what we were talking about. U.S. has doubts about Ukrainian counteroffensive, says Pentagon leaks. You don't say. I'm pretty sure you could talk to like a 6-7-year-old and explain to them the situation, and they would have doubts. Documents said to have been leaked from U.S. intelligence paint a bleak picture for Ukraine's much-anticipated counteroffensive, according to the Washington Post. If genuine, they raise doubts about Kiev's ability to field the manpower and ammunition needed to sustain major combat operations over the coming months. Part of the leaked trove began circulating online last month. Files labeled Top Secret reveal American reservations about the upcoming counterattack, warning that a lack of troops and ammunition could mean that Ukraine will fall short of its ambitious goals to retake lost ground over the spring, the Post reported on Monday. Enduring Ukrainian deficiencies in training and munitions supplies probably will strain progress and exacerbate casualties during the offensive, the document says, going on to cite Russia's sturdy network of defensive installations across the southern Kherson region and Kiev's ongoing force generation and sustainment shortfalls. The document also suggests Ukrainian forces will aim to capture territory in the south and east, apparently hoping to cut off Russian troops advancing from Crimea. However, the intelligence assessment predicts only modest success in those goals. I really need to clean my glasses. A separate classified briefing prepared by the National Intelligence Council, seen by only select lawmakers on Capitol Hill, concluded that Kiev's counteroffensive is unlikely to be as successful as operations last fall, which did result in some regained ground, according to the sources cited by the Post. Oh, goodness. Yet another leaked document. It's about as bad either way, with or without the glasses, and that's pretty normal. That it's that bad for me to see, because my monitor is like way back there, yo. I need that like way closer, but because of the way I have them set up, I can't do that. Anyway. Coffee time. Like I was saying, I think one or two things is going to happen. I never did finish saying it when I started saying this. I think either that Putin's going to snuff them, Ukraine, or it's going to be an Article 5 situation, and all of NATO is going to be involved. So one of the two. I would say that, just my guess, I would say probably by August, and this is just my guess, about August or so, things will probably be wrapping up if NATO doesn't get involved, as in directly. We'll see. I just don't see this conflict going on for a hell of a lot longer. I just don't. Not unless NATO gets directly involved. There's just no way. They don't have the people. They're running out of equipment. They're running out of ammunition. The other nations that's giving them this stuff is running out of it. Those teats dry up pretty quick. Then what? And then, if NATO does try to poke the bear in the butt, what's that going to look like when we've already ran our munitions dry? Sorry, that's going to suck ass. Good visual, good visual. Anyway, next. All right. Pentagon leak exposes NATO special forces in Ukraine. Well, that's good news. One of classified U.S. military's documents that has made its way online shows the presence of 97 NATO special forces operators in Ukraine as of March 1st, 2023, of which 50 were British. Multiple UK outlets reported on Tuesday. The Guardian said it had seen two files dated late February and early March that listed 50 British special operatives as being active in Ukraine. The U.S. had 14 special operatives in the country, and France another 15. The documents were labeled secret and were prepared for senior U.S. defense officials, according to the outlet. The daily updates contained information about NATO military operations, logistics, weapons deliveries, and training of Ukrainian troops. Another UK outlet, Declassified, noted that the 14 U.S. special operators were among the 29 Pentagon personnel present in Ukraine, which included the Marine Security Detachment at the U.S. Embassy in Kiev and military attachés. Another 71 State Department personnel were in the country as well, amounting to a total of 100 Americans. Declassified also noted that the slide was marked not releasable to foreign nationals. While U.S. Special Operators come from two units, Navy SEALs and the Army's Delta Force, the British definition extends beyond the Special Air Service to paratroopers, Marines, and other units. The Prime Minister is not obligated to brief the Parliament on their deployment. Dozens of classified U.S. military documents have been discovered online over the past week, attracting considerable media attention. The U.S. government has not officially confirmed their authenticity, but the Pentagon has launched a hunt for whoever leaked them, and the Department of Justice is conducting a criminal investigation as well. Russia and Ukraine have largely shrugged off the documents as irrelevant. Let's see if there's anything in here that... Nah, nothing really. Nothing really to add to that, but I don't know. I'm actually kind of surprised that there's that few. I would think that there was more. Alrighty. And then we have this. U.S. making bioweapons components in Ukraine. Well, we can't say that they haven't been suspected of that for some time, because they have been. So are they still continuing to do it, or I don't know that they would still be over there doing it at this particular moment in time. But I do believe that Russia very likely does have evidence of it, because from my understanding, they've already taken over some places that were doing that. So that's been like some time ago, probably half a year ago or so, or more. I don't know what's going on. I don't know nothing. Anyway, the article says the U.S. is using Ukraine to manufacture components for biological weapons. The commander of Russia's nuclear, biological, and chemical defense forces briefed the State Duma on Tuesday. Pardon me. Lieutenant General Igor Krylov says that Russian military found ample evidence of this in Donetsk, Lugansk, and Kherson. We have no doubt that the U.S., under the guise of ensuring global biosecurity, conducted dual-use research, including the creation of biological weapons components in close proximity to Russian borders, Krylov told lawmakers. He said the military has come to this conclusion after interviewing multiple eyewitnesses and going over some 2,000 pages of documentation found in the Kherson region and the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics. The investigation also involved a parliamentary task force and federal law enforcement. Moscow raised concerns over a network of secretive U.S.-funded laboratories in Ukraine in the early weeks of the conflict and has frequently made public evidence about the program ever since. The U.S. government confirmed the existence of the labs last March, but insisted they were never illegal nor intended for a military purpose, despite the fact that much of their funding went through the Pentagon. According to Krylov, the investigation has identified specific individuals involved in the military bioresearch in the territory of the U.S. and Ukraine. He also noted that the facts made public by the Russian Defense Ministry have not been disputed. No one, including Western countries, has had any doubts about the authenticity of the published documents, the general said. Moscow took the biolabs issue to the UN last October, requesting an international probe, but the motion was blocked by the US, UK, and France in the Security Council. The program in Ukraine was previously known as Joint Biological Research, but has since been rebranded as Biological Control Research, according to documents Krylov presented last week. The U.S. has blamed an alleged Russian disinformation campaign for the increased public scrutiny of the biolabs. Oh, that's a Russian disinformation campaign. Oh, okay. Sure. I still question the one particular lab in the town of China. Now, I'm not talking about the nation of China, the town of China in Ukraine. I happen to have a biolab. You know, because there's tons of towns out there with biolabs with the name China. I point that out because every time Trump talked about it, he emphasized it. Remember? China is how he would say it. Check it out. Biolab in China, Ukraine. Chyna. Makes you go, Not so sure that wasn't our puppy. Exactly. You got it, Hexafus, China. Yep. I could probably Google it. China, Ukraine, Biolab. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. 26 biolabs in Ukraine. I was hoping one would, an article would just pop right up that had the name of the town. Of course, this is Google that I'm looking on, which is probably, yeah, see, search only for China. I just thought I would try to find it quickly. But I know they were discussing it. Oh gosh. Been probably a year, close to a year ago. Anyway. What in the heck? Hang on. Holy cow. I guess my my email thing didn't update or whatever. I looked down as my phone was vibrating. I looked down and showed a ton of emails in my email. And normally I know right away because it shows up on my browser, but it didn't that time. 8 emails waiting there. Anywho. We've got this article. I'm just kind of taking my time because this is like the last tab, and there's not tons of headlines, so I'm just kind of, this is probably like the, Easter hangover day still, you know what I mean? I know it's Tuesday, but there's a lot of cats that are off until the day. Today, a lot of them's their first day back at work or whatever, so. I mean, no excuse for sitting around. Get out there and mow your grass every day if you need to. Do something. I have no idea what I heard. But if it's E.T., come and take me home, mother... No. Anyway, Alright, so we've got this going on as well. More U.S. Republicans support sending army into Mexico, says Politico. We just want to do everything we can to piss off Obrador. Man. So, let's say these dumbasses get their way, and we send the military into Mexico. What's going to happen, and I've already talked about this week, as a matter of fact, I even spoke to it yesterday. What's going to happen when Obrador tells Xi Jinping, I think a military base would look really good right there, and then Pedro would get with, I don't know, and they would build a military base, and I see that coming. If there's not major global conflict to happen before then, I do see Mexico inviting China. I really do. Man, the United States has really crapped on so many nations. And I'm talking about our government has crapped on their governments and their citizens for so long. The nonsense that we've been involved in. And I know just a a little bit of it, right? Man, South America, there's a whole boatload of nonsense that happened down in South America with our military and stuff like that. And I'm not very educated on any of that went on down there. But there's a lot of nonsense that went on. And the U.S. was responsible for a lot of evil shit down there. And, man, those chickens are going to come home to roost at some point. And I have to ask this, too. You know, we have all those people coming up from all the South American countries, whether it be Haiti, whether it be, I think that's South American. Haiti and all of some of the nations where we were doing the really, really evil shit. And they've had a bunch of their folks come up this way. And you sit there and you think about it, you know, here just recently there was a bunch of Chinese that were found to be coming across the border. I couldn't imagine the size of army that they could sneak into this country in short order with the way that this dumbass administration is handling this border deal. I don't think it's just this administration, though. Man, we've been sold out, plain and simple. And I firmly believe that even the ones that people don't want to believe sold them out. I think pretty much all of those in current government have sold us out. I mean, you can't tell me that a government that has the checks and balances in place that we do can't get any of those checks and balances to function. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. You know the deal, right? You know what the Constitution says. You know what's supposed to be going on right now. I know it. A lot of people know it. How come it's not happening? You know, I keep asking, where in the hell is the Sergeant at Arms? His ass should have been arresting Biden long ago. Long ago. And nothing. Nothing. And then I dared to ask the question, who's next? And I still don't know. I still don't know who it falls on next if the Sergeant at Arms is derelict. I have no idea who it goes to then. But they're not doing it. Nobody's doing their job. They're just letting it be. So, you know, if you don't have politicians that are out there screaming every freaking day that this is criminal, asking that same question, where is the Sergeant at Arms? How come we don't have politicians crawling out of the woodwork asking that one simple question? Where is the Sergeant at Arms? Until one of them does, I don't trust a single one of them. Because you know the deal, I know the deal, they know the deal, but they're ignoring it. There again, so are we. It's one thing for me to bring attention to it, and it's another thing for 150,000 people to be in the streets bringing attention to it. Oh wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere around there for any of that nonsense. Cause like everybody involved was brutal. I mean, it's crazy. Crazy. I don't know a whole lot about that stuff, but I've heard a few things, and yikes. Yikes. And the United States had one hell of a bad role in a lot of it, from what I understand. Good amount of it was to be able to bring drugs into the country, and I mean, it's insane what happens in this nation. It's mind-blowing. And then all the lies we get sold by politicians, you know, like the lies about how that's how all the drugs is coming in through Mexico. That's the biggest bunch of bullshit. Drugs don't need to come in through Mexico. They come right on in through the country on a frickin' plane. It's just insane. Anyway. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that no drugs crosses the Mexican-U.S. border. That's not true. There are legitimate drug cartels and stuff like that, you know, trying to make money. But the most of it, it's bought, paid for, and protected. Blue thinks I need to move on. So anyway, this here says U.S. Republicans are increasingly warming to the idea of waging war against Mexico's powerful drug cartels, according to Politico, which spoke to several lawmakers in the party about the controversial idea. So is this going to be like the war on terror? Is this going to be like, you know, how we went to Iraq, Afghanistan, and we really just extracted their gold and oil? And let's not forget the poppies. And then is this like the same deal all over again? Because that's kind of what it's looking like. Former President Donald Trump is eager to send special forces south of the border to take out the cartels, according to Rolling Stone, whose sources claim the 2024 Republican frontrunner was asking for battle plans to engage traffickers. Trump, they said, has been complaining about missed opportunities of his first term and is surrounded by people who want fewer missed opportunities in a second Trump presidency. But the ex-president is far from alone inside his party. Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw and Mike Waltz are pushing legislation that would seek an authorization for the use of military force targeting the cartels, accusing them of turning Mexico into a failed narco state. The bill would put us at war with the cartels, Crenshaw boasted in a press release, insisting we must start treating them like ISIS because that is who they are. We created ISIS, just for reference. Waltz agreed that it was time to go on offense against the traffickers, echoing his colleague's comparison to the banned terrorist group. We need to start thinking about these groups more like ISIS than we do the mafia, he told Politico on Monday. A group of 20 Republican congressmen, led by Texas Representative Chip Roy, last month introduced a bill that would designate the Gulf Cartel, Cartel del Noreste, or Noreste, I have no idea, Cartel de Sinaloa, and Cartel de Jalisco Nuevo Generacion as foreign terrorist organizations. And I'm sure I've got every syllable of them correctly. Republican Senators Lindsey Graham and John Kennedy unveiled a similar bill last month calling for a task force dedicated to cartels and drug traffickers and naming 9 such organizations to be designated as terrorist. The push to invade the southern neighbor of the U.S. has some unlikely detractors, including John Bolton, the hawkish former Trump national security advisor. Bolton suggested going to war against the cartels was not going to solve the problem of fentanyl overdoses. Well, no, that you need to quit bringing in on the plane from China. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chair Michael McCall, a Republican from the border state of Texas, is still evaluating the AUMF proposal and has concerns about the immigration implications and the bilateral relationship with Mexico, a staffer told Politico. And it goes into talking about the opioid and fentanyl crisis and all that in the nation. All these politicians do is just keep people spinning around the toilet bowl. That's all they do. That's their job. Their job is to be the little holes around the ring to make sure you just, Insanity. Anyway, I guess I could read through these headlines and get the hell out of here and go to bed. I'm ready for bed already. I actually did quite a bit in my testing today, so a little bit wore out from all that. So, and I will say this. I was going to make a video, and I didn't. It would have only taken me a few moments, but I don't know, just didn't. One of the things I'm doing is I'm out there doing my testing is I'm wearing my boots, my actual SHTF, my more robust boots. I have two pairs of shoes. And one of them is more like a tennis shoe, but it's a hiking shoe. And then the other one's just Timberland. They're not like steel toe. They're like hiking boots, but they're a little more heavy duty type of hiking boot than the hiking shoe kind of thing I've got. Anyway, so I've been wearing those, the Timberlands, out there, just to make sure that they're good and broke in, because that's one thing I hate doing, is breaking in shoes, especially shoes like that, because I don't know what breaks in first, the shoes or my feet. They tear the hell out of my feet, and it's just, I'm tenderfoot, man. I am absolutely, that is something that I didn't get the Native American trait for. I'm tenderfoot. I massively tenderfoot. But anyway, so I've been putting those on. I will say they actually feel pretty delightful at this point. I've oiled the hell out of them. I've got boot stretchers. I've got wide feet, and they are wide boots. I made sure to order boots that would fit my feet, but I still had to put a stretcher in them, and just get the toe portion of the boot just stretched a little bit more. And it actually took a while. It took a considerable amount of time. I've been working with those boots for, I guess, a few years. Not like all the time or anything. In fact, very few times. But once in a while, I'd take them out. I'd re-oil them. I'd put the stretcher back on them for, overnight or whatever. And then I'd put them up for a while, and then after a while I'd get them out again, put some more oil on them. I just would do that, and now luckily I can bear wearing them. Yes, I do actually. I do have Native American in me, so I have German, Irish, and Native American. Hell of a combination. I'm an angry drunk that likes to scalp people. No. I just got the hell huffed out of me for that one. Right on, man. Right on. Yeah, I am so glad those boots don't tear me up like they did. They were so much better than the last time that I had worn them. Anyway, so I'm going to continue doing that, continue wearing them and stretching them a little bit and getting them more acclimated to my feet and get my feet acclimated to them, whatever. And I recommend highly, and that's why I was going to do a video, but I didn't, because that's one of those things that I think a lot of people might not really have on their radar, is to make sure their shoes and stuff are broken. And I know there are people that talk about it, but not really often, because it's not really one of the cool, sexy things to talk about. But it's really important. So it may not seem too cool and sexy at this particular moment in time, but it will in the moment if you don't do it. So make sure you break your shoes in, whatever shoes you think that you may be surviving the end of the world with. Just make sure you get them broken, make sure they're comfortable, make sure you take care of your feet. If you've got feet issues, deal with it. Luckily, I can say that without hiding because I'm not doing it myself. I took care of my issue. I had, I deal with these warts, and they'll pop up, and they're really like hard wart. And the weird thing is I found the trick to getting rid of them. Believe it or not, the whole duct tape thing is true. That's how I get rid of warts. That's the only way I've been able to get rid of warts is duct tape. So if you ever hear that, it's not crazy. It works like insanely well. So anyway, I had what I thought was just a big ass callus on my big toe that just was driving me insane. And like I dealt with that for over a decade. And once in a while I would kind of try to, not to gross anybody out, but I'd try to like shave it down and stuff like that because it would get big and very uncomfortable. Well, I finally realized that I wasn't dealing with a callus. I was actually dealing with a wart. And I didn't realize that for a long time, clearly. And so I started doing my wart treatment on it with duct tape. And sure enough, that toe has gotten considerably better. So I lucked out. I didn't have to like go anywhere to anybody or anything like that. I was able to take care of the issue once I realized what I was dealing with. But if you were dealing with feet troubles, take care of them. Because, man, if you have to be on them, that right there is a deal breaker. If you don't have your feet and you need them, that's an absolute deal breaker. So, Born boots. I'll have to check that out. I will have to absolutely check that out. Yeah, I've got like stupid wide feet, man. It's nuts. It really is. I mean, because my foot's only like 10 and a half. It's not like I've got a real huge foot, except for the width. The width is just stupid. Let's see. Alright, reckon we can do some headlines and run outside and... Well, I gotta take trash out, but... Bring in the spaceship that has been relocated, by the way. And, go to bed. Alright. Let's see. U.S. has doubts about Ukraine. Oh, I read that article. Why the hell am I reading the headline? World Bank urges debt restructuring for poor countries. You have Wolverines. I've heard a lot of good about those. I can't remember the, hang on. Do, 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 do. Ba-dum, bum. Oops, wrong place. Hang on. Down here. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. 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 There's my, the things I was telling you are kind of like a tennis shoe, but they're hiking. That's those. Them. Them. I love those. And those damn things are comfortable as hell out of the box. Those are some incredible shoes. I love those. I don't ever wear them. Why? Because they're for SHTF. And then, like I said, I don't need to break those in. Those are good. Those are not an issue. And then the Timberlands that I was telling you about that I've been working with breaking in, that's those right there. So, and I love those. They seem to be a very, very awesome boot. But, you know, my feet just being wide, it's just a pain in the ass. So, but yep, I ordered, as you can see, the 10.5 wide. I actually have an extra wide foot, so. Oh, Gore-Tex. That's what, I mean, it's not the Gore-Tex. Is it these or is it, yeah. That's what these are supposed to have, I believe. Like a generic version of it, a different version of it. I think it's these. Yeah. Yeah, it is these. And then the boots that Jen has also have the Gore-Tex type of stuff on them. And then this is the thing I was talking about, the stretchers that I got. Yup. What? What brand of what boots? Are you asking Lael or are you asking me? The one, if you're asking me, the like hiking type shoe was Rax, RAX. Was it the? Yeah. Here it is. Waterproof hiking boot featuring suede leather upper with breathable lycra material with adjustable lace-up vamp. Like I say, it's not the Gore-Tex. It's like their brand or whatever, their version of Gore-Tex. So, if that's what you were talking about. The Timberlands, they're just leather, I think. Yeah, they're just leather. Yep. Let's see. Sharp rise in number of Moscow billionaires, says Forbes. Need to find me a sugar daddy. Let's see. Russia warns of Ukraine weapons spillover. EU nations hit by wave of bankruptcies. I could just see me now. Some like 6'7", freaking 350 muscle bound Russian. Oh snap, yo! No, I couldn't see that at all. Uh, U.S. allies seek censorship of Pentagon leak, says Politico. Let's see. Biden sought to threaten Putin, says Seymour Hersh. Not Seymour Butts, that was a different article. Russian Communist Party opposes unblocking Twitter. Yeah, I'd never heard of Rax before either. I'm not even quite sure. It may have just been a search that I did to run across them. I'm going to be honest, they sold me on the camouflage. Yeah, but I mean, they had really good ratings. Out of, right now they've got 1,700 ratings and 4.3 out of 5. So I figured that wasn't too bad. And when I went down and read what people had to say, very few people had issue with them. A lot of people really, really seemed to love them. So, and man, are they super comfortable. I can't speak to how well they hold up. Other people say they hold up really, really well. But I don't wear them because, like I say, I don't want to wear my stuff out. All the stuff that I've got for when things are sideways, I don't want to wear them out before things go sideways. To me, that makes no sense. And like those shoes, I don't need to wear them. I'm not doing anything that I need to wear them. I can wear my regular tennis shoes. The only reason I'm even wearing the Timberlands is because I want to make sure they're broke in well. But believe me, when I get done, they will get oiled and put back up and probably not touched for probably a year. And then I'll pull them out and I'll put them on, see how they feel or whatever. Wear them a few days or whatever. Just keep that leather flexing, and keep putting oil on them. As far as I know, that's how you're supposed to take care of them. I don't know. I'm not a leather boot expert, but in fact, that's the first pair of leather boots I've ever oiled in my life. Or even cared for enough to take care of, to be honest. Let's see. Yuan displacing dollar on Moscow exchange. Bitcoin soars to 10-month high. Vogue accused of animal cruelty after shoot with Russian supermodel. Numerous countries cast doubt on Pentagon leaks. U.S. and ally hold biggest joint drill amid China tensions. Iraq responds to Russian rise in Indian oil market, says Bloomberg. Ukraine grooming Russian youth for terror attacks, says FSB director. French food giant to rebrand in Russia. EU state makes energy deal with Russia. Kremlin responds to claim of secret rocket purchases. Kremlin responds to Musk's complaint about Putin. Donbass leader questions Pentagon leaks on Ukraine. IMF improves Russian GDP outlook. Pentagon leaks suggest Russian hackers attack Canadian pipeline. Let's see. Kremlin pours cold water on unblocking Twitter. Ukrainian regions ban largest Orthodox church. Russia to crack down on e-cigs. Congressmen alarmed by Tesla China deal. Russia adopts law on new military draft rules. French finance minister backs Macron on U.S.-China stance. Dutch teachers back ban on phones, says a poll. Elon Musk's Twitter move sparks speculation. Balkans country denies sanctioning Russia. Manhattan prosecutor sues Trump's chief House ally. Let's see. Russian-made app passed out YouTube, says media. And I know that headline just doesn't sound like it makes any damn bit of sense. And it doesn't sound like it makes sense. Basically, Telegram, their app Telegram, they were claiming now has more users than YouTube. So that's what that's saying, or trying to say. Poland wants strongest U.S.-backed army. And then I talked about this. Pentagon leak exposes NATO special forces in Ukraine. So anyway, that's it. I'm telling you, it was a little bit on the light side on news today. I still stretched it out for an hour though. That ain't bad. Well, anyway, I'm gonna get the hell out of here so I can get the trash dealt with, get the spaceship inside, and get my ass in bed. So anyway, I will, God willing, speak to all of you tomorrow. I appreciate you coming. Hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.